Embarrassing dating stories. Blowout. It was my first date ever with a boy, and I had a slight cold. We went to a nice restaurant, and while we were eating our meal, I sneezed and a huge booger bubble came out of my nose. It was awful, and it wouldn't go away. I jumped up as fast as I could and ran to the bathroom with my hands over my face. After that, the guy never asked to go anywhere with me again. It was so horrible. Number 2 cat trick. Last year, when I had just started my first period, the boy I liked asked me out. I suggested that he and a friend come over to my house to watch movies. We had recently gotten a kitten, and she liked to take things out of the trash and carry them around. While we were watching the movie, she came into the living room and dumped something on my date's lap. He stared at it, and then jumped up and said, "Whoa." I looked over and realized it was one of my used pads. I threw it away fast, but when we finished the movie, he and his friend left in a hurry. Nothing ever happened with that relationship. Number 3 spitting image. My new boyfriend and I were outside the movie theater, waiting for my mom to pick me up. We hadn't kissed yet, but I had a feeling it was going to happen soon. Just as I was thinking about my dream scenario, he came up and kissed me with his mouth wide open and slobbered all over me. There was saliva everywhere. A second later my mom pulled up and yelled, "Way to go. First kiss." I was traumatized. Number 4 pushing his buttons. A bunch of my friends, including my crush, were going to the movies. As soon as we got into the theater, everyone coupled off and I was left with my crush. In the middle of the movie, he started to make a move on me but stopped midway and started wiggling around. He finally settled in his chair and pulled me to him. After a few minutes, he started making weird grunts. He then blurted, "You're leaning on my stomach, can you get off?" I had been shoving my arm into his stomach for support the entire time. Number 5 boohoo. My boyfriend was going to a children's museum with his younger brother and asked me to tag along. I didn't feel like it, but I could tell that he really wanted me to go, so I agreed. But once I started checking out the exhibits, it actually turned out to be pretty fun. There was one about the pyramids, and it had a giant maze attached. I wanted to play a joke on my boyfriend, so I ran ahead of him and hid. I waited behind a wall so I could jump out and scare him when he walked by. As soon as I heard him coming, I jumped out and yelled, "Boo!" All of a sudden, a little girl screamed and started crying. I had jumped out too soon and scared a kid who was at the museum with her mother. I felt so bad, but my boyfriend and his little brother could not stop laughing at my mistake. Number 6 sweet nothing. I was dating this boy and wanted to say something romantic to him over the phone, so I wrote a long letter to read aloud while talking to him. When he answered the phone, I began reciting my letter nervously. While I was pouring my heart and soul out to him, I heard some noise. It sounded like someone talking to another person and then handing the phone to him. My guy then interrupted my speech and informed me that I hadn't been talking to him before. His uncle had answered the phone. That whole time I had been confessing my love to his relative.